business. And those estate lands were in fact subdivided. The way we zone North Shore and South Shore. South Shore, the plots tend to be a little smaller. North Shore, they tend to be a little bigger. South Shore, they were developed more as communities. You don't see a lot of housing developments up above 25A. You just don't see them a lot. I think that is a part of it as well.
There's no block parties or anything, you know.
You don't see that. You just don't see that much anymore. But I'll come see you.
Come visit me. I'm in Centerport.
Village of Northport's fun. We got stuff going on in Northport.
I live in Centerport.
We have a question here.
You know, throughout the country, there's been some great redevelopment because disasters happen. Rivers came through and flooded out what was the old downtowns, and the municipalities had a great sense to think about and really plan on how to rebuild them. You know, places like St. Louis, Rapid City, and I can think of, and a lot of other places. You know, we had our river of disaster in Huntington Station called Urban Renewal. And for a long time, 40 years, we've had a lack of commitment to do anything about it. And I just would like to hear from the panelists about the new effort that's going on in Huntington Station, because I think it's more critical to us as people in Huntington that this is the area that needs the most work, the most redevelopment, and how that's done. And of course, we now have Renaissance being hired by the town to come in and start that process. And I just wonder what you all think of that in your capacities of the effort that they're doing, and how it's, what do you think the possibility of it is?
I mean, I'll just take a step back and then kind of go first thing. Some of the themes that I keep bringing up are that we see success when communities drive change and local economics and market forces drive change. We're guided by good infrastructure dollars and thoughtful planning and regulation. And when outsiders plan other people's communities, and we've learned ourselves through some of the visionings we've done where we've gone into communities, and the communities weren't there really for the change. And we're pushing, and like, why the hell are we pushing? Folks don't want it. So the situation at Huntington Station is a lot of well-intended policies have not, in some cases, not taken root, and that's good, but in some cases, they just never, they never really considered the local folks. And we're starting, you know, now there's a process with Renaissance Downtowns, they're a quartermaster developer that is, have given the green light by the town to plan an area by the train station, involve local community folks and residents and businesses, and come up with a plan on what they want to see there. The good news about this process is it is driven by local residents and businesses. And quite frankly, only the folks, in my view, only the folks here who live in Huntington Station should be talking about it, other than getting your friends and neighbors who live in Huntington Station involved. So they should shape that, and I think they are. Time will tell. We certainly know the developer, they've done good work in other parts of the island. So, you know, so I'd say there's some positive things on the horizon. Unfortunately, there's been plan after plan after plan, and there's still brownfields plans, and this plan and that plan, and it's confusing. So you got to move all that aside, and you know, the fights or Avalon Bay and all this stuff, and just wipe the blackboard clean if you can, and rebuild trust with a new planning process, and watch it every step of the way. So.
I'm going to piggyback on that one too, which is to say that I hear that, I think that when Huntington decides that we're all better for a better Huntington Station, then we're going to get something done. But as long as we have that north-south divide, as long as we have, you know, if we're not able to talk to each other and communicate and come to some kind of understanding, at least on what our vision for it's going to be, I don't think we stand a snowball's chance in another. Yes.
Really, it was a comment. Downtown, I'm sorry?
No, I'm just trying to tell you this one over here.
Okay. Downtown Renaissance has a website, it's called Source the Station, and it's a really good website for people to get involved and see how they can be part of Huntington Station's Renaissance, basically. And on October 11th, they're going to be here at this library at 7 o'clock, and there'll be an explanation about exactly what that is and what they're doing. If you go to the website, sourcethestation.com, you can actually become a member, if you love Huntington Station, you work in Huntington Station, or you live in Huntington Station, and then you can vote on what they're thinking of doing. And it was a really interesting meeting we had last week, so I'd really advise people who love Huntington Station to look into it.
Can I ask how many of you all have been down to Huntington Station into Renaissance's office? How many of you haven't? They're right on 110 near the train station. They're right next to the old Boys
Just
and Girls. Right next to the Boys and Girls Club. You know where the dentist was? Where the dentist isn't anymore. That's where Renaissance is.
Well, the old Boozer's Pub was.
Right across the street from the 7-Eleven.
Near Huntington Station, you go north of Jericho Turnpike and towards the train station, it's a complete bottleneck every time you want to go down. And we tried all kinds of alternate routes, how to get downtown. It's a stranglehold, and I see what they're doing near the Northern State now, with all the renewal near Cannon and all the other things. It really looks like it's going to work. I mean, it's a real undertaking. But when I see what's going on there, with what can be done, there's so much potential on that roadway to get through to the town, and to all this stuff east and west of it. It's just dying for somebody to fix it all up. And it's close to transportation. There could be industry there could be urban housing there. It just seems that that's the right spot to do it. You don't need cars if they work nearby, or less cars. And it seems like it could work if it's over there. I think it's a perfect place.
I think you're right. And give it to those damn red light cameras up there.
Joy, let me just mention that, just follow up what that young lady mentioned, that Sources Station is a terrific way to get on the computer, to go on and look at it, see what they're talking about, see what they're proposing, and that's, I mean, the people who live in the area, what they're proposing, and that's what Renaissance is going to follow up on. We also are developing a Facebook page for this evening that I hope everybody will go like, and give us your comments. We don't have a whole lot more time. I think it's almost time for Joy to wrap up. We may take one more question. And then, please, we would like to capture your thoughts, your impressions. Are there things we didn't touch on you'd like to talk about? Because we're going to do a couple more similar presentations, and we'd love to have your feedback. The next date is March 12th, 2013 at the Elwood Public Library, and we'll be putting that on our, I'm sorry.
I'm reading from Trudy here.
Yes.
Okay, it says, I don't need to hold it up there. It's called Growing Community, Who We Are, How Do We Live Together. And that's March 12th at Elwood. May 17th at Northport is Suburbs for the Next Generation. What do we value most? And certainly some of the statistics we heard tonight make me worried about who we're going to be talking to that night. I'd love to see some young people here who are at the cusp of deciding where they're going to live and have their families and what their future holds and how we would possibly keep them here on Long Island.
Okay, let's have one more question in this.
I was just curious about the property on Pulaski behind Northport High School that's going, I think, more than 25 years of legal war. What's good or bad about that?
Not sure what's good.
That fight's older than I am.
That's a fight that, yeah, I mean, that's been going on since the 70s. One of my first boss wrote his dissertation on that fight. He worked for Housing Help back in the day. And, he told me, yeah, there's this fight that's going on. I don't know when it's going to end. Now it's like 20 years
I think
later.
you're getting closer to a resolution, so everybody pray.
But it's not the process we want to emulate.
No.
I think we can come to consensus a little quicker on some of this stuff than 30-year lawsuits.
Okay, let me give Joy,
Let me just say a couple things here, just really, really quickly. One, I think that for Huntington, all of our challenges are actually opportunities. Two, I think that for Huntington, I can say this because I'm a columnist. I think that for Huntington, some of the things like our economic diversity and our racial diversity that some of us seem to be a little bit afraid of are in fact opportunities. Because the one thing I take from this film is that the communities that thrive are the ones that can actually get along, work together, and mine the opportunities. And I thank you all for listening, and I am going to come visit. And thank you for the
This is it, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
And we're on time.
And we are on time.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.